about a massacre at the Abu Salim prison in Libya. At the end, I'm also going to give you some details on the government in Libya. Close your eyes and picture yourself in a 6-foot by 6-foot prison cell. Close your eyes. It's dark and you're standing in a puddle of your own urine and feces. You haven't eaten in days, maybe weeks. You try and move, but this is nearly impossible because there are 25 other prisoners in the cramped cell with you. You probably need medical attention due to all of the senseless and vicious attacks by the prison guards. This was the harsh reality of the detainees at the Abu Salim prison. Okay, a little bit about the Abu Salim prison. It's located in the Tripoli district, which is the capital and largest city in Libya. Libya is in North Africa. It was ran by hostile guards representing Muammar Gaddafi. He's been the de facto leader since September 1st, 1969. And what this means is basically it wasn't anything that was voted into place. It was kind of just like the word is rule. He said that he was leader, so that's just what it was. And it still is today. The saying is, in Libya you can criticize Allah, but you cannot criticize Gaddafi. The prison is overflowing with the Islamic prisoners, and it's all about politics. Many of the detainees are under the belief that they'll eventually be released. The guards at the prison, they could be broken up into 3 different groups. The first group they were very hateful and vengeful. They would do anything for their master, whatever he wanted. They believed that if you were in the prison, then you deserved to get any kind of treatment. The second group they were opportunists and cowards. Basically, it was all about personal gain. They were actually afraid of the first group of guards as well as most of the prisoners. The second group was helpful, relatively helpful. They helped out when they could with personal items, shopping, trying to get letters to the family. The only issue is that this group of guards was very rare, and the help that they offered was sporadic because they were in fear of their lives too. If they helped out too much, they could be killed as well. The detainees. After a huge influx into the prison between 1989 and 1990, it was critical for them to place the detainees in different groups. Group C was the most important group in relation to the massacre. It was 450 detainees. They were waiting to be released. They were told that if they took indoctrination courses, which is like, it's an education, but it's basically brainwashing because you can't question anything that's taught to you. You have to believe it. If Gaddafi says that the sky is purple, then you believe that it's purple and you don't question it. They were told that if they took these classes, they would be free. Also, the people in these classes, they got special perks at the prison. They had fine dining sent out to them. They had opportunities to leave the prison, and it was said that they would sit out and sunbathe while others were like starving. At the end of the program, 130 detainees from Group C, they were released. It can be assumed that these were probably the most corrupt. They were probably willing to go with whatever Gaddafi said, so therefore they were released. The remaining 320 prisoners were devastated, depressed, and desperate. The group that was left, in fear of being locked away without formal charges, 7 members unsuccessfully tried to escape. And after this, at the prison, everything changes. The prisoners' already harsh conditions worsened. Whenever they would walk out for meals, they would get beaten. Garbage wasn't removed from the prison. The prisoners were forced to live with backed up, overflowing sewers. After failed attempts to speak with the warden, the prisoners decided to try a new method. They decided to protest. On June 29th, 1996, that's when all hell broke loose. A group of prisoners, they attacked a guard, and a riot began. Military police were brought in to control the situation, and negotiations between the warden and the prisoners went back and forth. Each cell block actually nominated someone to go speak and say what they wanted, and the things that they wanted were simple things like the rights to have their families visit them, better food, improved treatment, and like less beatings from the guards. They also asked for medical attention because a lot of them were unhealthy and very beat up. The officials agreed with the prisoners, but they told them the only thing you have to do is go back and get in your cells because it's too much going on. So they all agreed to go back to be locked in. 120 prisoners who needed medical attention were told to go ahead and get on a bus. They were going to take them to the hospital. But as soon as the bus pulled off, many of them on the bus were accused of being opposition groups, political opposition groups. They exited the bus and they were all shot execution style. At the prison, hand grenades were thrown into the crowds of prisoners, followed by firing from AK-47s, general purpose guns, machine guns, and crowd control guns. This continued for 3 days. Guards would further shoot the people who were already injured, make sure that it was fatal. The bodies piled up, and experts actually suggest that nearly 1,700 people died. The last thing witnessed was a meat transportation truck on the prison site. Nobody knows what really happened. Residents to this day in the area say they can still remember the smell. The aftermath. Many of the details of what happened in those 3 days are unclear. The issue of political prisoners and disappeared victims in Libya prisons is considered one of the most important issues that reveals how dehumanized the Libyans are within their own country. Ironically, today, Gaddafi is considered to be a close ally in fighting international terrorism. Libya actually announced last month it would demolish the notorious prison, and the government has supposedly begun procedures to compensate families of the martyrs who died in the massacre. We still haven't seen this, though. In conclusion, families are still left with the unclear circumstances of what really happened to their family members who simply demanded to be treated humanely. No real action was ever taken towards the guards or the government. I want to tell you briefly a little bit about Muammar Gaddafi. This car right here, this was actually a political summit. They were supposed to be having peace talks. They were supposed to be bringing things to the table about the country, but instead he shows up with his concept car. He had used Libyan money to build this car. They're having peace talks and he's showing off what he has. This picture right here, there was an interview given to Gaddafi talking about race relations in his country. And he was saying that Africans are treated just the same as any Islamic in the country, but this was a man who was just trying to cross the border, and he's basically having to beg to do so in front of everyone like an animal. And this is how they treat all of the Africans there. In the hospitals, they only want white or other Islamics to work rather than Africans. And then this picture right here, this is Gaddafi's son. He's going to be the next in line to be the ruler. His saying is, "My son or the guns." So basically the terror is going to continue because his son is going to be the next in line to succeed after him.